Go.
Okay, good morning, students. How's your day today? Alright, so nice to hear that you are feeling great in this morning. Now, before we dive into our fascinating lesson in this morning, I want you to stand for a prayer. Alright, done. Since done, I want you to take your seat. Alright, so let's dive into our fascinating world in English wherein we can identify or we observe correct grammars. Alright, so before we dive in, I have here a cards which contains two phrases where you're going to observe, identify which sentence or phrase is incorrect and correct. Alright, so you really observe it well. So the correct is she doesn't think it's a good idea. And the error is that she don't think it's a good idea. So alright, so you're really mastered in observing correct grammar. So now, before we proceed, I want you to watch this video and I want you to listen attentively since I will be asking some following questions after.
Ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, we are presenting the most intelligent person in the Philippines, Mr. Rico.
Alright, so done. So what do you think is in the video? Alright, that's correct. So it has a lot of grammar mistakes. So how did the errors impact the speech persuasiveness? Oh, that's correct, students. So you really understand observing grammar correctly. Now, let's have your learning objectives that you will attain in the end of our lesson. So, the first is we're going to identify grammatical errors in written and spoken English, particularly in subject-verb agreement, of course. So, and then we're going to explain how incorrect grammar affects the clarity and the effectiveness of communication. And then we're going to analyze the impact of grammar mistakes on the persuasiveness of an argument. And then the last one is you're going to apply correct grammatical structures and constructing their own sentences. Now let's proceed to our discussion. Are you ready? Alright, that's nice to hear that you are all ready. So, I will be presenting to you a subject-verb agreement on how we're going to use a subject-verb. We have the first rule, the second rule, and also the third rule. Alright, so let's have the first rule. Okay, using articles correctly. The use of articles in English is determined by the sound that begins the following word. Articles like a and an serve to indicate whether a noun is general and singular. Alright, so a is used the noun begins with consonant sound, while an is used when the noun starts with a vowel sound. For example, we're going to say an ant, right? So we can't say that a ant. It's because it is grammatically incorrect. And also we have a second rule, which is the subject-verb agreement. We should make sure that the subject should be agree what is the next of the word. So subject-verb agreement is a fundamental rule in English that ensures clarity by aligning the subject of a sentence with the correct verb forms. Singular subjects require singular verbs and plural subject requires plural verbs. Of course, when you use a singular subject, of course you will use a singular verbs. When you're going to use a plural subject, of course, you're going to use a plural verbs. And the third rule is the logical sentence structure. So it is important for us to use the logical sentence for us to understand the phrase. In English, sentence clarity relies on maintaining a standard structure that follows subject, verb, object, or what we call the SVO. So alright, since we already know the rules of using subject, verb agreement, now let's proceed to the common grammar issues that some speakers they use grammatically incorrect while while speaking. Alright, so we have here switching tenses. Switching tenses inappropriately. So speaker often switch between past, present, and future. Sorry for that. Okay, just for a moment. So, alright. So, switching tenses inappropriately. So, speaking often switch between past, present, and future. So, here are examples. So, for example, we have the incorrect. I will say yesterday I learned about climate change, and today I am taking action to stop it. And the correction is that yesterday I learned. Yes, you're going to add some ed since um, you are switching tenses. And then yes, climate change, and today I am taking action to stop it. And number 2 is using present tense for past events, referring to past events as if they are happening now. For example, I might say, last year we achieved great milestone in our project. But the correction is that last year we achieved great milestone in our project. Number 3 is the future tense in hypothetical or conditional statement. So I have here an example. The incorrect is that if I will study hard, I will succeed. But the corrections is that if I study hard, I will succeed. Alright, so number 4, overuse of present continuous. Using the present continuous tense unnecessarily. Alright, so I have your example also. For example, the phrase, I am wanting to thank everyone for their support. But the correct is that I want to thank everyone for their support. We also have the confusion between present perfect, and simple past. Alright, so misusing to present perfect tense when referring to completed action. So I also have here example. For example, I have completed the project last week, but the correct is that I completed the project last week. So present perfect tense should only be used for one action. And number 6 is that using future tense instead of present simple for scheduled events, replacing the present simple tense with the future tense for fixed schedule. So, for example, the meeting will start at 2 p.m. But the correct is that the meeting starts at 3 p.m. Alright, so confusion between the past perfect and simple past. Alright, so since you already know and understand the rules or the common grammar issues and of course the rules and the subject verb agreement, now in our activity, are you ready, class? Alright, since I hear that you are all ready, so I have here a argumentative speech, and then I want you to choose your pair at this moment, and then you're going to identify or highlight on how proper grammar strengthens arguments and credibility. So it has a mistake. Now I want you to make a correction in it. Alright, so done. Now, can someone came in front and present their work? Alright, so let's proceed to our next activity. So I want you in this moment, I want you to write your own short argumentative speech that contains 3 or 5 sentences. Okay, it should be a resolving conflict, and should students have a say in school rules, like school rules. Focus on using grammatically correct sentences. And each group, okay, this will be the group 1, group 2, group 3, and the group 4 and the group 5. So Each group will select their representative to deliver their speech to the class. Alright, since done, now it's time for your assignment. So, since you already make your own argumentative speech, I want you to revise and polish your argumentative speech for grammar accuracy. And then, we're going to submit it with a written graph. Alright, so I hope you learned something, and thank you and goodbye class. See you in our next